that Europe is better than Africa is something that was put in your head by Europeans. But Africa has everything. Africa is super rich culturally, language-wise, food, resources. Everything is in Africa. Africans only need to take back control of their continent.
Vladimir Putin says Africa is a cemetery for Africans. When an African becomes rich, his bank accounts are in Switzerland. He travels to France for medical treatment. He invests in Germany, he buys from Dubai, he consumes Chinese, he prays in Rome or Mecca. His children study in Europe. He travels to Canada, USA, and Europe for tourism. If he dies, he will be buried in his native country. Africa is just a cemetery for Africans. How could a cemetery be developed?
My brothers and sisters, I think let us be a bit realistic about what is going on in the world today. Many years ago, in Berlin, Europeans sat down and subdivided our continent, at times separating a brother from our sister. After they finished doing that and colonizing us, they went ahead and taught us to fear, hate, and keep away from each other. So you are my neighbor, but I fear you, and I don't want to mingle with you. Let me give you an example and use a few African examples. Today, it is easier for a European to travel within Europe without requirement of a visa. They can trade, make money, visit each other, spend money, and the European Union area, and they're making a lot of money, they're becoming rich and rich every day. In Africa, our former colonies and what they taught us still prevails. Then they mingle among each other. Today in Africa, the reality is that for an African to visit a European nation, an ordinary African, to visit a European nation, is like, let me give you an example my teacher used to use. It's like trying to milk an elephant because of the visa process. However, for a European to visit an African nation, most of our nations, it is like a walk on the beach. It's like going to have a cup of tea. But then that is not the problem. The tragedy is that now for an African to visit a fellow African within the African Union, the visa restrictions in many of our nations, among us, between our brothers and sisters, is like trying to brush the teeth of a crocodile. They came, divided us, and they have taught us to keep each other from each other. Then they're mingling with each other and making money and growing, but they have taught us to hate each other. But for us to really enjoy the true economic benefits of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we need to behave like the Europeans and allow for the free movement of people and trade. Our development agencies, such as the African Union Development Agency and others, cannot really succeed when there are all these restrictions among ourselves. To this end, in our contribution to this continental aspiration, Kenya is committed to progressively, and we are moving very fast by the end of this year, to abolish visas to citizens from African Union member states to make it easier to invest and do business in Kenya and across the continent. We are going to open the borders of Kenya. We do not fear our fellow Africans. Come, travel to Kenya. Live, do business in Kenya. Trade, make money in Kenya. And we hope we'll get reciprocity with the rest of you. Let us open our continent so that we can make money and live together. Let us remove the shackles of colonialism that are still embedded in our heads and be able to move forward. Mr. Chairperson, Excellencies, climate change continues to ravage lives and livelihoods of millions. We must remain faithful in the implementation of decisions that we make in our sessions. Let me say something that some of you may not like. African Union needs to be self-reliant. As long as the bulk of the AU funds come from outside the African continent, we somehow will find ourselves dancing to the music that is not of our own making. Therefore, we must address the issue of reforms that will enable us to fund our own programs. Funding that comes from our friends is good, but it needs to be funding that is in support of our programs and not our lifeline. Therefore, this calls for a critical look at the architecture of the African Union and the way we implement our decisions and the way we fund this continent. It's a discussion that we must have, and we must agree to ourselves that we need to take care of ourselves so that others can support us, but we are not being told to dance. My teacher used to say that at times when you're wearing somebody's suit, you know, and you start dancing, they start telling you slow down because you may ruin that suit. You know, we want to wear our own suits and dance the way we want, not to the tunes of other people.
Yeah. What's up, my good people, wherever you're watching from this channel? Welcome to the channel. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. I hope that you are doing good, and if you are not doing good, I pray that you be well, you'll be okay as we dive in this video, as we dive in this discussion. And today, I don't know, I wish that I got a large number of African people, the black people, wherever you are. I hope that I'm gonna get you in this video. This is your video. This is your video, and any comment that comes out, I hope that I need a large number of comments within the African community, because this is a video that I've did specifically for the black people, for the black folks, for the African who are very rich, who have made money, who have made life. And how are they interacting their money with the community of Africa? How are they interacting their life with the African community today? Because what this guy is saying is true, and that is just one of the African leader, the Kenyan politician. And what surprised me so much that I come realize that these people, our leaders, our African leaders, they know the truth. They know where the mess is. They know where they can fix the problem, but they pretend just to be there. They don't speak out. They don't speak out. But the fact is that they know where the truth is. So tell me, if this is a politician, a Kenyan politician, and he know what is happening in the world, he know everything that is going on in Africa today, not just in Africa, but around the globe. But he has been in a government for a very long time, but he has did nothing. He has the power to support the change in his government, but he came out from the government with nothing to offer to the citizen. So that is something that I was so worried and so surprised, because we sometimes think like these people maybe they don't know what they can do, but I've come to realize that they know the problem, and they know where they can correct and correct where the mess is. They know how they can fix the problem. You know, a Kenyan country is a Kenyan that has very many problems. When it comes to governance, the government of Kenya has been in a problem all time. Many years, the citizens of Kenya have been complaining, have been crying out the hardship of life and the high economy, high taxes. All this has been happening in government, in Kenyan government. But those are the government officials. They are there. They know very well that the colonizers separated Africa. They know very well that the colonizers are the one who caused all these problems in Africa. They know very well that the colonizers, they sat in some areas, in specific areas, when they are separating Africans, and they installed some fears, some bad feelings in African community, in African minds, and that is what is still happening and still being working in African minds up to date. They know that, but if they know, there are some people as we are coming to talk on social media, maybe we have decided to do this because we want the best. We want the best. And as we were been in school, as we were taught in school, we were taught some things different as what is happening in today's world. Because what we are talking here today in social medias, these are things that we don't we don't get in schools. Our schools never taught us deeply about slavery. Our school never taught us specifically about the black community, on how they were separated, on the black Americans, the black Caribbeans. We never taught this in our schools. Our schools were basing on the curriculums that are not even helping us. That is the kind of education that is happening in Africa. So when I say that this is a problem, because many youths, even just an adult, even adults, many people, many Africans don't know the history of Africa. And that is where the problem is coming from. So when the other official leaders, like that one who has been giving out that speech, when they know the truth, they are the one who has to come out and summarize to the people. Tell the citizens that this is what happened and this is what is happening today. And from what happened, if we can combine and relate to what is happening today, then we can make a conclusion and make the right to our today's living in African community. But they are just there. They're there. They're coming. The government hold their position, hold their offices, and at the end of the day, when they finish their terms, they go home. When they have enriched themselves with their families, leaving the fellow Kenyans, the common citizens, with nothing to offer themselves. That is the mess that the Africans are still up to date. There was a day I come across a clip of PLO Lumumba, the professor, and I like that clip. So I'll just give you that clip. We watch out, then we can and react at the end of it.
The American government is currently rather schizophrenic, but in their schizophrenia there is one thing that they have done which I like. To say that the organization called USAID will never give us money. Good. We have been enjoying manna for too long. In the short to medium term we will suffer, but it will teach us, because in Africa, we have no shortage of thieves. And these thieves take money from us and keep them in those very countries. If the thieves were to return even half of the money, we don't need USAID. We don't need GIZ. We don't need SIDA. We don't need NORAD. So we must, as I conclude, make the decision. And the younger people here must do it. I'm part of an organization currently, which is the African People's Union. We mean it to be a shadow organization that is going to tell the AU, stop issuing statements and attending workshops funded by NORAD. Do things.
Yeah, welcome back. So he said, well, that he appreciates the cutting off of USAID in African countries, because this has been keeping African leaders asleep all time. The governments of Africa has doing nothing to the citizens, because at the end of the day they were depending in some aids. They knew very well that at the certain time USA will deliver some aids to African countries, to their governments, like USAID, like food reliefs, medicines, healthcare services, all that things. USAID has been covering a lot of things in African countries. So the government of Africans were just there, dormant, doing nothing, just consuming the taxpayers' money, just consuming and wasting money of the common citizens, which they are cutting off and putting a high rate of taxes. So when Ibrahim Traore came up and started fighting this, we have came across several African leaders, African politicians who have condemned Ibrahim Traore, just claiming that Ibrahim Traore is not a democratic. He's doing things out of democracy. He has to follow the democratic. Africa is a democratic. That is wrong, and we don't support that, because these are leaders who are based on democracy. But how is that democracy helping the common citizen? That is the question we have to ask ourselves. When an African gets rich, he forgets about his country and he starts to invest in the foreign countries. That is the topic of the day. When an African becomes rich, he forgets everything about his country and he starts to invest the other country to the foreign countries. You know what the people don't know about this thing about investing in foreign countries. That's why our countries are not developing, but the foreign countries are developing each and every day. They're getting rich every day, and that's why they have the courage. They have that capability to come and dictate us in our own countries, because they have everything. They are rich. The countries have already developed. They need nothing, but at the level they are, we are the one who need them. And that's why even up to date, we as Africans, we are sitting on the top of minerals and resources, but we have nothing to do with it. They are the one who has to come and use these minerals, take them to their countries, pay us a little money, to continue developing their countries. And that is why they are taking more advantages on Africa, because they know very well that we can, even if they go away, the Africans cannot manage their resources. They cannot. All these things will just go in a certain group of people, the rich people, the politicians, and the common citizens will have no any idea of what is happening to their wealth and their riches. That is the problem of Africans. So when an African became rich or gets money, he opens up the bank accounts in foreign countries. He travels in foreign countries. His or her children get education abroad in foreign countries, and even they get employed there, and even some of them go and buy identity in foreign countries. All this money, take an example of all that money that they are expending in foreign countries. What if they could have spending in their countries? What would have been happening in their countries? That is the fact that we don't know, and that's why before sometimes we condemn the white people, but before we do, we go far and go deeper condemning them. We have to condemn ourselves. We have to blame ourselves, because at this time, and sometimes we say that the problem that Africans is ongoing today, 90% of it is being caused of Africans themselves. We are the one consuming. We are consuming the problems that we have prepared by ourselves. We are the one who have caused all this. Let's put aside all that happened during the slavery time, the slave trades, and the colonization. But there was a clip I came across when a guy was saying that Africans could not rely only on blaming the African countries, the West powers, were the colonizers, because China and Russia were also colonized. But where is the situation? How is the situation of Russia? How is the situation of China? How is the economy of these countries? China and Russia are the leading economic countries in Africa or in the world. They are on the top countries that leading in economy. But where is Africa? Just because they decided that they want to plan themselves, they want to organize themselves, they want to put together themselves and do something creative to their countries. That's why they are on where they are today. But because Africans decided that they want to enrich themselves, put themselves in specific groups, so that they can enjoy what is happening in Africa today for themselves. That's why the Africa is looking at on how it's looking today. The African continent is only as a metaphor for the Africans, because Africa, after these people has been gone and spend all their wealth in foreign countries. At the end of the day, when they died, they are being brought back to their homeland to be buried. So they go spend their expenditures, they go spend all they have in foreign countries. But at the end of the day, after they died, they are being brought back to come and be buried in their countries. So that means, well, that Africa is only a cemetery for them.
Vladimir Putin says Africa is a cemetery for Africans. When an African becomes rich, his bank accounts are in Switzerland. He travels to France for medical treatment. He invests in Germany. He buys from Dubai. He consumes Chinese. He prays in Rome or Mecca. His children study in Europe. He travels to Canada, USA, and Europe for tourism. If he dies, he will be buried in his native country. Africa is just a cemetery for Africans. How could a cemetery be developed?
And that's why it will take a long, it will become a big deal for the African continent to be respected, because you cannot respect the cemetery. It's only a place of putting the dead. So that's why I say today that this video I specifically did for the black people, the black folks, wherever they are, before we discuss a lot concerning the white people and the white powers and whatever they are doing to Africa, on how they are manipulating, how they are looting African. We have to check on ourselves first, because all that is happening in Africa, we as Africans, who are the cause of everything, we are the cause of all that is happening. Instead of us organizing ourselves and putting ourselves in some measures on how we can maintain our countries, we are taking everything that we have to go and spend in foreign countries. And that's why we are continuing to give those people power, energy, and access, and opportunity to do whatever they are doing in Africa today. And that's why today you are seeing those people are just dictating in our African leaders. Some of them you have seen the other day videos circulating as the American ordered, they wanted to destroy Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso because he's trying to tell African the truth. That's why, just because he's trying to put Africans together, eliminate them, advocate them, tell them, awake them. It has become a problem to him. They only like the Africans who support them, who submit to them, who bow after them. Then from there, you will become their friends. But apart from that, you become an enemy, you become a target of their daily interest. So Africans, we have to plan ourselves, we have to work by ourselves, we have to defend ourselves, we have to wake up and do everything we can do, everything we will do just to save ourselves before we wait for some people to come and save us. They separated the continent of Africa. They installed fear. They installed a hate among the black people. So we have to dissolve this chain. We have to dissolve this chain that has been there for a very long time. And that's why you see countries like African countries where there are quarrels and war. Countries like Congo, Sudan. When you go do your research well, you find that there are no other people foreign who are coming to fight these people. They're all fighting for themselves. They're fighting themselves, and you find and still you find that they are still requesting for some help outside. They're ready to offer their mineral, their resources, just to be guaranteed security while they are fighting for themselves. How can you want for a foreigner to come and solve your problem when there are no other terrorists or some other neighbors or whatever? There's no one who is attacking you, but you are attacking yourself. These are domestic issue, whereby a head of state has to sit down with his citizen, with his country, and solve the issue, correct the matters where it has gone wrong. Instead, they're making the mistake over mistakes. We have to do this. We have to fight this. We have to wake up. We have to do anything possible to save our continent before it erupts all of it, before it becomes a distraction. Let's not support Africa just being seen as the battlefield, just for the interest of some people. This is Kenyan Explorer. Tell me what you have. Tell me, bring me your opinions to the comment section. We have to discuss about this. That's why I say that this video is specifically for the black folks, wherever they are. We have to learn things from this video. We have to know where we are going wrong, where we are making mistakes, and we have to correct the mistakes that we are doing. What we are making, we have to correct all this, because this is the only time we have, and no one will come to fix our problem. This is our fight. These are our problems. We are the one to handle it, and we must handle it. We must do it for the better tomorrow, for the better Africa, for the better the generation. This is the time, and this is the time, but no other time. Stay tuned, be blessed, subscribe, turn on notification for all updates. We are doing this because we love Africa. We need best Africa, and we need the best for ourselves.